Hi everyone, William here. 1 month ago, I started to study chess a lot harder, and I'm creating this channel to share a little bit of knowledge about chess. I want to start this with a series in Endgames. And if you like this type of content, please share, subscribe, and like the video to help me out. Chess endings is a huge topic and there's a lot of to be covered. So I want to pick two positions in rook endings that are really simple to understand and can definitely save a lot of points. Um, I see these two positions in the Silman's Endgame course. I think it's the name of the book. The link is in the description. Okay, let's start with the Lucena position, which is characterized by the strong king occupying the queening square and the enemy king is blocking the squares where you can go to promote this pawn. In this case, the rook is also blocking the c file, so the king cannot go to the other side too. The strategy here is to find a way to remove the king, promote the pawn, and win the game. If you try to check on the e file, it doesn't work because e7 check, the kings walk up to f8 and you are still blocked. You check again, he goes down and you can repeat, doesn't matter. So the maneuver here consists in removing the king from the f file and getting some heir to your king. So the move here is f1 check. If the kings go to the e file, you just move the king to e8 and promote the pawn. The rook cannot cover the c file, the 8 rank because the pawn attacks the c8 square, right? So here blacks need to go to the g file, and whatever the move he does, you are winning. There is a strategy here, a maneuver here, which is called building a bridge. And in this case, it's a move that doesn't achieve nothing immediately. It's really hard to see if you don't know what is coming next, which is rook to f4, which in the moment doesn't do nothing, right? But the reason of this move is that after rook f1, king g7, if you remove the king now, black can just check you. And if you go back, he goes back, and you repeat again, right? So this is not the case. You need to find a way to block the enemy rook with your rook. Okay, so this is called building a bridge. You go with your rook to f4, and whatever he does, let's say he plays rook c1, keeping your away from the c file. Now you can go king e7, and when he checks you, you walks in the front of pawn, he checks you again, and now you don't go e5, so then he captures the pawn and it's a draw. You go e6. Now it might seems now it makes sense why we play rook to f4. The next time he plays rook check, you play king to d5. And if he checks you again, you can block with the rook. And doesn't matter what your opponent do, you promote the pawn. If he takes, you take back, and the king is in. There is no way to stop d8 queen. This is a beautiful position which I think everyone should know and can definitely save some points for everyone. Okay, let's start with the Philidor position, which consists in a position where the defending side is able to cut the king infiltration on the sixth rank and have the king on the file of the pawn and the front of the pawn. Okay, so the strategy to draw here is to keep the king on the same file of the pawn and the rook on the sixth rank. The only moment where you're removing the rook from the sixth rank is when white pushes the pawn up, okay? So in any other case, you are just waiting. If white checks you, you just keep the king on the e file, okay? If he checks you again, you go back, right? Let's say he plays rook to b8. You just wait. You don't let your king out of the e file, neither remove your rook from the sixth rank. So he plays rook to b8, you play rook to g6. He goes back, you do the same, just repeat. In the moment your adversary plays pawn to e6, in this case, he just plundered the pawn, it's a draw, okay? So let's say he checks you, you just walk up, okay? When he checks you, you go to the e8 square and he pushes the pawn again. Now is the moment where you go all the way down with your rook to h1 in this case. Okay. The reason why is now there is no way to the white king to get out of checks. The only way he can do this is by sacrificing the pawn. So let's say whites here play e5. You just go e1 check. Okay. If he goes f6, you just f1 check. If he goes away from the pawn, you go back and attack the pawn. He needs to go back to defend, you check him again. Let's say he goes there, check, go back and attack the pawn again. Okay, he goes check, you just attack the pawn. In this case, if he checks you again, you just take the pawn and it's a draw. Okay, so the only different case is in this position, if he checks you, you go back and he plays rook to c7. In this case, he is trying to probably trick you in a pawn endgame, and still you just wait. He will probably play rook to c6, offering a trade of pawns. And in this case, this is a drawn king and pawn endgame, right? Where you trade rooks, and in this position, you can easily draw this game. You just push your king up. If he goes back, you keep the position, right? He checks you, you go back. He walks up, you keep the position. If he goes up, this is a well-known drawn position for black. Let's say here, if he goes, you goes there, he goes back. Remember, always maintain the opposition. He needs to go there, you just go back. He comes back, you keep the position. Okay, so the only, I think, trick you can fall to is in this position, you need to remember that if you trade rooks, you need to guarantee that the king and pawn endgame you are getting is undrawn king and pawn endgame. So thanks for watching. If you like this type of content, please share, subscribe, like the video, drop your comments below, and keep turn up. Probably going to share a lot of videos and insights about Endgames in the next week or next month, probably. I'm trying to complete the Silman's complete Endgame course book, which is suggested by Chess Dojo training plan that I'm following. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like the video, please subscribe, and good chess.